What's up, guys, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. Today's video is going to be on the top 10 plug-and-play characters in the game, which means the top 10 characters that can fit into any lineup, help boost that lineup, and do well. Huge shout out to Wampa, these three servers, Get Good, Treason Echo Base, and Crimson Force Walkers. And then a massive shout out to Dagger, who is a good pal of mine on Discord. He's actually going to be doing a video with me at some point in time. I'm looking forward to that. He's a huge theory crafter, and he kind of put this poll together on these three different servers, and they came to a consensus on what the top 10 characters should be. So this is, kind of like scientific. My original list is a little bit different from the list that they kind of put together. All of our ideas were input, and they came to a conclusion and kind of put it to a vote almost like that. So without further ado, here is the top 10 plug-and-play characters in the game. Number 1, Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is hands down the best plug-and-play character in the game, and I think it's going to be for the foreseeable future, and it's specifically because of the Fracture ability. Probably the most unique and best kit in the game to this day. I hold to that. If you agree with me, leave a comment in the comment section below, please. The ability to completely take out an enemy on the other team for a whole turn, they can't do anything, they can't gain anything, is insane. And that's why he can go into a battle, you can be facing, some of the best teams there are, and you can put a Fracture on the best character, and they're done with for an entire turn. A lot of people mod Thrawn for speed, like I do, so he can get a Fracture off right away. And some people don't put as much speed on him so that the Fracture can hold longer, but still, absolutely amazing character. Definitely the number 1 plug-and-play character in the game. Number 2, Nest. Not a lot of people have this character, understandably, but she is viable at 3 stars. It's because of her kinetic charge, first of all, is huge. She dazes the enemies for 2 turns, removes 20% turn meter, okay? That's just massive right now. A mass daze is insane. That's why she is so good. And then, not only that, she can stun enemies and inflict buff immunity with her sudden impact, and she can dispel any defensive buffs with her basic, plus give expose. Her fighting instinct, which makes her probably the best tank in the game that doesn't have a tank label. 1, she has 80% counter chance and ignores taunt during her turn. Now this is a Zeta, which helps, but she is good without the Zeta. Whenever Nest is damaged and attacked, she gains 30% critical chance and 40% bonus protection. Stacking, which means she's almost impossible to take out at times. This bonus protection increased by an additional 40% each time. Both bonuses expire and reset at the end of her next turn. But whenever an enemy loses a buff or debuff, she gains 2% critical damage and health stacking until the end of the encounter. Wow. Okay, again, her versatility, her damage, she can do pretty good damage if you mod her that way as well. And then that mass daze, plus getting rid of taunt. Sorry, my alarm was going off there. It's just, she's an amazing character, and that's why she's one of the best in the game, and you're going to see many lineups with her the way it is. Number 3, Wampa. Again, why Wampa? Because he has a mass daze attack with Icebreaker. Not only that, he gets stronger throughout the battle. Offense keeps going up. He starts hitting very hard. He does 100% more damage offense against rebel targets with his basic there. He can become a beast the longer the battle goes on. And his AoE, especially in like the tank raid, him with a few other characters can solo the raid. That's why he's definitely in the top 10 and a character that I have put quite a bit of time into, and very glad I got him to 7 stars. So again, where do you get him? From the Guild event store. And then next, let's take a look at Raidon, probably the biggest damage dealer in the game. With Grievous coming out and some of his reworks, there's probably some competition there. But he's amazing, guys, because he attacks first in every battle. If you're facing another team with another Raid Han, sometimes it's just like a coin flip, basically. He stuns with that first attack, so that enemy is done for the first time through. And then, especially when he has a Zeta, which we'll talk about, his basic does a lot of damage, can deal 75% more damage if they have less than 50% turn meter. Otherwise, he gains turn meter. Okay, he shoots first. This is one of the best Zetas in the game, in my opinion, because the first time Han uses his basic attack, he attacks again, dealing 50% less damage. Attacking twice, guys, again, he can just wipe people out. And then we have his Deadeye ability, who can stun, and then Han gains turn meter equal to his critical chance. Guys, he is, like I said, one of the biggest damage dealers in the game, and he can fit into any lineup for that reason. If you need some extra oomph, definitely think of putting Raid Han in there. Even though, you know, he's a rebel, you can put him in non-rebel lineups. Definitely in the top 10. Next, the ever-dangerous, still in my opinion, best tank in the game, General Kenobi, is a raid character, and he was like the second raid character to come out. He was in the tank raid. Raid Han was first, so these are trickier characters to get. But he's still the best tank in the game, and he's so viable right now with Jedi Revan lead, because he has a mass cleanse, can give foresight to people. He has a AoE attack, or I guess I should say a mass attack, where he attacks one person. Everybody attacks if they have buffs. He's just insane, and I have him modded with health and a bunch of protection, and it takes a long time to take him out. Is he the biggest damage dealer? Absolutely not, but his ability to help control the rest of the battle, he's just as much a support character as he is a tank, because of his cleanse and his foresight grant and stuff like that. So definitely in the top 10. Next, one of the plug-and-play characters that has probably been around, and probably he was able to fit into most teams earlier in the game. He's not used as much there now, but it's definitely Darth Nihilus, specifically because his Drain Force will increase cooldowns of the opposing team. If they have debuffs, it's 100% assured. And then he can annihilate. He can instantly defeat a target enemy. So you can use him. He used to be used in a General Xeris team where they had a General Kenobi lead with a Zeta Barris, and no damage would be done to those guys with the critical hits and stuff like that. And Nihilus would come along, get to his turn, and annihilate, bam. And he is still useful for that reason, and he can fit into many lineups like that because of his ability to one-shot an enemy. And not only that, he can dispel with his basic, and he can increase cooldowns again with Drain Force. Great character. He came out in February of 2017, I believe, and he's been good ever since. And he's still used in a Traya lineup, and who knows if Darth Revan comes out, if he's going to be useful there as well. Definitely somebody you should fit in your lineup if you're considering people to put in there, if you know you're earlier in the game and don't have a full squad or something like that. Next, this is the one that I didn't have on my list, Chewbacca. He's also a harder character to get. You can use him at 5 stars, but it's because of his loyal friend ability right here. At the start of the battle, grant guard to the weakest ally and Han Solo. Okay, a lot of people that are going to use him in a lineup that doesn't have Han Solo, most likely you're going to have Grandmaster Yoda with the guard at times if you're using him in a Jedi Revan lineup, which a lot of people do actually, because he's able to assist guarded allies whenever they attack. He does 20% less damage, but it just continues to add up over time. And then when Chewbacca deals damage to an enemy, Chewbacca and all guarded allies recover 3% health and 3% protection. That is the Zeta, but the ability to regenerate health and protection is still one of the best in the game. And again, I didn't have him on my list, but they put him on there, and actually he is great because that guard can affect anybody, any team that guard can affect. And I just like to, when I usually use Chewbacca, I like to use him with Raid Han. I just don't feel like the cohesiveness of, I gotta have the cohesiveness, if I can speak right now, of him and Raid Han together. But again, because of his guard ability, that is why he definitely gets put on the list. And I can understand that. Next, CLS, Commander Luke Skywalker. Still one of the top players in the game. You can put him in any team. I still usually use him as a leader, but with his ability to dispel, do massive amounts of damage, he can heal and gain protection for himself, and his It Binds All Things ability is like a leadership ability that he doesn't have to be in a leadership spot for, because whenever Luke resists a detrimental effect, he recovers 5% protection, and whenever Luke inflicts a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter, and other allies gain half that amount. His ability to dispel, do all of that stuff, guys, it's amazing. Again, he is a Hero's Journey character, but he can do quite a bit of damage. He can inflict buff immunity as well. Definitely in the top 10 plug-and-play list, and he can be used in any lineup. I wish he had the Jedi tag, actually, so you could try to fit him into a Revan lineup. But there will probably be a Jedi Luke come. In fact, not probably. At some point in time, there'll be a Jedi Knight Luke. Hermit Yoda is next. And again, a guild event character. You need to get him through the guild event store, and I've said this on many videos, but if you have not been farming Wampa or Hermit Yoda from there, please do so. I made the mistake of waiting like a year before I finally decided to farm these characters to get them to 7-star. Wampa is on the list, so is Hermit Yoda, because of his master's training ability. He can. The Master's Training buff. Plus 25% accuracy, defense, offense, potency, and tenacity cannot be dispelled or prevented. Doubled on Jedi. Man, him in the Heroic Sith raid is a beast. You can use him, especially in Phase 2 with a Jedi Revan team. But he can be used in any lineup because not only is his Master's Training what makes him dominant, he doesn't have an attack. His basic attack has allies recover 10% health and 5% protection. All other Jedi allies gain 5% turn meter, so you're gaining extra turn meter if you're a Jedi as well. And then the strength flows through the Force, which I put a Zeta on and I recommend you do too. All allies have their current health percentages equalized. Health equalizing effects ignore heal immunity, that's huge. Then all allies recover 20% health and protection, and Jedi allies gain foresight for 2 turns. The constant healing, the constant protection regeneration with all of his abilities except for Master's Training, guys, makes him an unbelievable character, and he can fit into almost any lineup. And I love theory crafting with him because he can make any team better. And I hope that one day when Mace Windu gets a rework that I can use Hermit Yoda with him, give his Master's Training, and watch him single-handedly annihilate the opposing team. Have like a Nihilus attack or something like that. So again, Wampa, Hermit Yoda, both from the Guild Event Store. Farm them because they're in the top 10 plug-and-play list. Next was a character I didn't even think of. If we would have made this list 2 years ago, I would have went, oh yeah, hands down, one of the characters that should be on here. But it is the B2 Super Battle Droid. And why is this character on here? Because of his ability, Mow Down. What's it do? Deal physical damage to all enemies and dispel all positive status effects on them with an 80% chance to also inflict buff immunity for 2 turns. 1. Mass Dispel. Every single buff on the opposing team, gone. If they don't have Foresight, which sometimes they do. And then you can inflict buff immunity, so they can't be gaining buffs unless they get cleansed. That's why he's on this top 10 list, because he's a character that's easy to get, you can put into any lineup if you need a Dispeller. You know, is he the biggest damage dealer in the game? No, but that Mow Down ability right there is amazing. But he also has a 40% chance to gain 100% turn meter whenever an other ally is evaded or damaged by an attack. What's nice by that is he could be going quite a bit, you know, and like I said, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but the Dispel is what makes him huge. And there's a lot of teams, like I said, 2 years ago, he was insane. He was in one of the top characters in the game because of that. So that rounds off your top 10. We have Thrawn, Nest, Wampa, Han Solo, General Kenobi, Nihilus, Chewie, Commander Luke Skywalker, Hermit Yoda, B2 Super Battle Droid. Let's quickly look at the honorable mentions. And Rex. Rex is the first honorable mention because he is the best plug-and-play leader in the game. He was meta-dominant for the longest time because his leadership ability can work with any group of characters. It is the Brother in Arms ability. Clone allies gain 20% max health, and other allies gain half that amount. Okay, so most of the time you're not going to run them with the clone lineup. They're gaining 10% extra max health. In addition, whenever an ally suffers a critical hit, all clone allies gain 15% turn meter, and other allies gain half that amount. Okay, 7.5% turn meter when you're being critically hit. That's what kept him dominant in the meta for so long, because you're able to go that many more times because of all the turn meter that was granted with him. He is still the best plug and play leader in the game, like I said, and I think there's always going to be some spots where he can be useful. There'll be a team that comes out, like, you know, people run him sometimes with Wampa. And I think even as more characters come out in the future, you'll be able to use a Rex lead here and there. And that's definitely why he's the best plug-and-play character in the game. Next, two droids. Two droids that I actually had on my main list, but the consensus was that they should be honorable mentions. R2-D2 is number 1. The first droid here. And he would not be number 1 if you don't have both of his abilities Zeta. The Zetas are massively important. The combat analysis, while R2-D2 is active whenever a light side ally scores a critical hit, dispel all debuffs on them. It's a passive cleanse, and you're going to be using him in teams that critically hit a lot. He's amazing in Phase 1 of the Heroic Sith Raid. And then his number crunch, at the start of battle and when R2-D2 was revived, other droid, Galactic Republic, Rebel, and Resistance allies gain 10% of R2-D2's max protection, offense, max health, and potency until R2-D2 is defeated. I've done many videos where I've talked about how I mod R2 with maximum offense, because 10% of his offense is going to transfer over to the other characters, and do not take that for granted. When I ran the team that I ran for like 3 weeks that I really, really liked a lot, which was CLS lead, Raid Han, Chewbacca, R2, and L3. All that extra offense that was going to Chewie, Raid Han, and CLS, we were just mowing through people. When I would face a Traya team, Traya would get knocked out the first time, because Han would attack, Chewie would attack, Han would attack, Chewie would attack, CLS would attack, and they're gone. It was so much fun to use, and it was only the meta for like 3 weeks. Then Revan came out. It's probably one of my favorite teams ever in the game. And again, this is also very useful in the Heroic Sith Raid, because you're transferring all these statistics over to your Jedi training raid team in Phase 1. Most people will mod him for massive amounts of speed. At least that's what they used to do, especially when CLS was meta. Again, I have some decent speed on him, and I don't even have speed primary in the arrow. I like to transfer all that offense over there. And that's why he's dominant, because of his transfer of stats and he can, by the way, let's not forget about his potential to stun with his basic and give smokescreen to everybody else so that they're all under stealth. Okay? Next, and the final character on the list in the top 10 plus 3 honorable mention is BB-8. Because they said on here because of his raid viability, and I agree with that 100%, but also he can be used in a lot of lineups and other aspects of the game as well. It's all because of his Illuminated Destiny. We're going to read this, but also let's not forget about his covert data transfer, that when people get this, the secret intel, which is going to be getting, they're going to be gaining plus 25% potency. When another ally uses a special ability, they gain secret intel for 3 turns. Then the cooldown of Illuminated Destiny is reduced by 1 for each ally with secret intel. Okay, so obviously you guys know you want to be spreading that secret intel around, but that bonus potency is something some people forget about. And then the Illuminated Destiny. Dispel all debuffs on all allies and expose all enemies for 3 turns. All allies gain 80% attributor and gain advantage, critical chance up, critical damage up, offense up, and speed up for 4 turns. Droid and resistance allies recover 20% protection. This ability starts on cooldown and can't be evaded whenever a droid ally scores a critical hit. Reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1. Whew. Again, Phase 1 of the Heroic Sith Raid, you can use them in the tank raid and the team that can solo it. I've actually soloed the tank raid finally, and I can make a video on that. Vader lead, Wampa, BB-8. Did I throw in Asajj and CLS? Did I throw in Thrawn too? I've used a few different teams. I cannot wait to get my Karth leveled up, because Vader's lead with damage over time. I'll explain that in a different video. But again, that's why he definitely fits into many lineups, because he doesn't have to just be in a light side lineup either. Any characters will be gaining his bonuses from Illuminated Destiny and covert data transfer. So that rounds off the list right there. I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree with this list? Again, this was a consensus from quite a few theory crafting servers that come together, and they're absolutely wonderful people. And I can't wait to get, more insight from them, to be able to make more videos like this. But like I said, do you agree, disagree? Put some characters you think that should be in there, or who you should think should be in the honorable mention list. I mean, this is a pretty solid list, and these are all great characters. And if you're struggling in some aspect of the game and want to add one of these characters, go right ahead. They're going to help you out. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the subscribe button, like the video, click the notification bell so you can be alerted to all videos that I post. Also, I'm leaving a link to my Discord server and Patreon page in my description below. Again, comments in the comment section. Give me video ideas. If you have a video idea like this, guys, you want me to make, and you really think it's a good one, also message me on Discord with it. I'm going to get right to it. A lot of people give me great ideas, and that's how I continue to make content. So otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.